Here's a few tips and thoughts thought I'd share with you when you're at the beginning, especially of starting to prepare for the CMP exam. These are ones that I have found from talking and watching to all my students over the years and hearing what they have to say also. First thing I'm going to say is you must, that's not even underlined enough, you must schedule time to prepare and actually put it on your calendar and make it non-negotiable. That may sound extreme. Maybe you were the kind in school who caught 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, whenever the time opened up, you studied. I don't advise that at all. This preparation is going to take more time than most of you realize, to be quite direct, and you need to do it regularly. You can't wait for that time to happen. So look at your calendar and figure out when are your best times to study. And I know, in some ways we could argue there's never a good time, but you need to create that time. You need to create the best time you can. If you're a morning person, maybe you get up before everyone else in the house and study some then, or get to work before everyone else and study there, or stay after work after everyone's left and study there, or go to a coffee shop, or go to a library. And it may be weekdays, it may be weekends. You need to know you need to see what is successful, and you need to put those blocks in your calendar. If you do not, you will take a very, very long time to prepare and may never really be ready for the exam. So schedule time on your exam. Some people, there is no set number of recommended hours. It really varies on each person. But I've had people who would study 3 or 4 hours on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, and that was their weekly time because they preferred to do it all together and they just could not find the time during the week. I've had other people who did study at 6 a.m. in the morning or 5 p.m. at night if their office was the kind that emptied out. So it's very important that you figure out what time works for you, get it on the calendar, actually do it, try it for a couple weeks, see if it feels like everything's working, and then continue on. When I say it's non-negotiable, you need to treat this like it was an important appointment with someone else. You got to get it done. And this leads me to my second point. The people around you need to understand how important this exam is to you. People in your personal life, whoever they may be, friends, family, whatever, they need to understand that you are probably going to have to push aside and say no to certain things that you would normally do or would like to do, but this has got to take priority. You may not get to go out every time you want or go see a movie or whatever it is. Am I saying miss your child's dance recital or birthday or a wedding or something? No, no. You need to plan around them, but don't miss them. But it may be, like I said, a movie night has to go out, or a night to dinner, or someone comes in from out of town and you don't get to spend as much time with them. You need them to understand how important this exam is. Same thing with work. They need to understand. Sometimes I have run into people whose workplaces are so supportive they actually give them time at work. I know that's the exception. But people, whoever it is, people need to understand how important this exam is to you. Almost all of them will not understand how hard this exam is. Okay? You probably don't actually realize how hard this exam is yet. And I don't mean that to scare you at all, but it's something that you really do have to make a concentrated effort to prepare for. They won't understand, but they need to understand at least how important it is to you and that you need their support. Find your place. Would we like to do that in general? But concerning the exam, I mean find your place to study. Find the place that you are the most comfortable, the least interrupted, the least distracted. Ironically, for some people that could be in a library where, they find the study areas. Other people, it needs to be a coffee house because ambient noise works with them, but they don't have family there with them. Some people do find a place in their home that is their perfect place to study. But find your place, and based on what I have read on some studies. Studying in the same location over and over again actually can help with recall when you're sitting in an exam. And you probably know situations where if you mentally have put yourself back into place, you can remember absolutely everything that happened at that location. It's that type of thing. Putting yourself mentally in the location where you prepared for your exam when you're sitting there taking the exam can actually help you recall information. So the people who are much more scientific than I have found. Schedule your exam. A lot of people schedule their exam as soon as they get accepted. I would not suggest that unless you've already started preparing. I would suggest you start preparing. Actually, in another video, you'll hear why I say don't apply until you've started preparing. And for this same reason, until you start preparing, you're not going to really have a good idea how long it's going to take you. You may think, oh, I'm going to kill this off in a couple of weeks or, X number of months or whatever. Sometimes you just don't know until you start preparing. So I always recommend to people, start preparing, go through classes, start the reading, whatever it is you're doing to prepare, and then get an idea as to how long it's probably going to take you to prepare. Then, yes, absolutely, schedule the exam. Because what I have found, now that the exam is 365 days, is people put off scheduling the exam. They're like, oh, well, I was going to take it in March, but I think I'll just push it off till April. And a year later, they still haven't taken the exam. So yes, create that deadline for you, create that goal for yourself, but wait until you're into the process to have a better idea. So you walk into the exam truly prepared, or as prepared as you feel you can be. So those are my suggestions if you're just starting out and trying to figure out what to do next. Hope they helped.